as a seller, excuse me, going to Nelli. And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, I'll talk to you after. I'm going to sell my house. And I was like, oh my God, you can't go anywhere.
So let's say you're thinking of selling your house, you stumble across a TA UK agent, like what are we all about? Hit me.
It sounds silly, the home of personal estate agency, but I think that describes it very, very well. We're personal. We are so invested in your move, and like we've said before in other episodes, is by the end of it we will be mates.
Yeah.
And I think that says it all for me.
Yeah.
I think you could expect opposite to a estate agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting here today, I go out on valuations like this, like the suits are no more, the briefcase is no more, the clipboard is no more, and the measure up,
the laser measurer
is no more. Like we just go sit down, have a honest conversation. We've got to get on, as you say, for 6 months. Do I like you? Do you like me? What are you looking for? What's your experiences been like previously? Talk a bit about what we do. It's us. We care. As Nelly said, we're 7 days a week. We're doing it ourselves. It's one point of contact throughout the whole process. Yes, there might be one or twice where you speak to one or two others, but ultimately, you're not getting an estate agent. You're getting almost what becomes a friend, someone who cares, and someone who's going to be personable throughout the whole process. And
I mean, ultimately, what are estate agents knoon for? It's like lying, right? Like that's one of their big things, untrustworthy, deceit and stuff. Yeah, all of that. And ultimately, if we don't sell your property, we will not be able to put food on our family's table. Yeah. So what do we give? Honesty. Yeah. So we are the opposite of what most agents are known for.
Do you know what I say? Because we all work hyper-local, it keeps us very, very honest.
Yeah.
Because I can't go for a nice glass of wine on a Friday night.
Yeah, that's the best point. That is so true. I was in the gym the other day with Stace. I was eating, she was in the gym. I was working and eating. And I don't know what day, it might have been a Sunday. I'd seen maybe 4 or 5 people in there that I'd sold houses for. That fortunately all went well, so they were lovely. We were then in a restaurant a few days after. Again, the same thing happened, and there were people that I was currently selling for. And you're right, you can't, because it is hyper-local, you can't go anywhere.
Only place where I can't be seen or heard. And there was, I got there 15 minutes late, and literally there's one seat left to go and see the Odyssey. It's sold out everywhere. And I'm shining the light in my face trying to see my seat. The guy next to me literally went, as a seller, excuse me, going to Nelli. And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, I'll talk to you after. I'm going to sell my house. And I was like, oh my God, you can't go anywhere. And that makes it sound like we're selling. We're not that at all. But it's just
you got to do a good job.
You have to do a job because we're recognised, and I can't be saying to you, oh sorry, I haven't had time to do that, and then you see me in the pub.
And a good job doesn't have to mean you sell it in week 1. A good job might mean it's been really challenging to sell, so you've had to revisit, not bury your head in the sand because you promised something that hasn't delivered. Go back out. Okay, we need to re-strategise. Let's sit down. Let's talk about this again, and actually, walk those people through the process. Not because Mr. or Mrs. someone has said, I can get you this much, sign this 16-week contract, and fantastic. We're going to do that. I promise you. And then you never speak to them again, and that hasn't been delivered. So, actually, I'm speaking to someone else in the branch, and we're waiting out these 16 weeks, I think, and we're just told to reduce the price. It's it might not go well from week 1, but we're there to talk you through it, and sometimes the markets are against us, and we've got to adjust. But ultimately, it's we want to get paid, you want to get paid, you want to move.
Yeah. You said strategise there, and I think for the 22 years I've been an estate agent, great bow socks. For the 22 years I've been an estate agent, I think I've always been a really good agent. I wouldn't have ever said I fall into the typical category, but if I look back 15 years ago, I didn't sit down and talk about strategy with a seller.
No.
But that's all I talk about now.
Yeah. Because I think you go in at the mindset that you're hitting a KPI. You're trying to win the listing for your bonus that month. You're trying to win the listing to keep your bum on the seat that month. You're trying to win the listing because you don't want that agent to get it down the road. You want your board outside. You're doing it for all of the wrong reasons. You're not doing it to give the customer the best experience and to deliver for them. Yes, we want to win the business, but ultimately when you're in the high street, and 15, 20 years ago, I don't think I ever went out thinking that neither.
All those reasons you just listed are for the agent, not for the client.
Yeah.
So the switch is going, everything I do, I'm doing for you, not for me.
Yeah.
The amount of times that people say, do I have to have a board? And I'll be honest with them. And I'll say, be honest, the board's more for me than it is for you.
Yeah.
So, if I sell it, would you let me put one up? Because I might get more business out of it if I've done a good job for you. They go, yeah, fine. Yeah. Especially if it's at the end of a cul-de-sac. Where there's no passing traffic, So for me, again, the first lie that any estate agent will tell you is when they say, I promise I'll be able to sell your property. Yeah. You're lying. You have no control. You have no control on whether someone actually decides to part ways with the best part of £1 million or not. It's the marketing, it's the house. All of that's in your control.
You control the leading up to that.
Correct. But you can't promise someone that you're going to sell their house because it's not your decision. So,
I promise you I'll sell your house, Daniel Woods Elite Homes.
Come to me when it doesn't.
But like I always say, I don't think any estate agent in any estate agency format goes to work to do a bad job.
No.
But a lot of the sort of standard high street setups aren't fit for purpose. Because they're everything, just as you said there, everything that is resting on that business being a success is on metrics of the agent,
they're busy
not
being
actually
busy
helping
and
people move home.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're busy being busy, spinning plates, just keeping things going, and absolutely.
And I feel for them, because when you have got, you're trying to think of hitting that KPI to get that bonus, to be able to buy that present at Christmas, you're gonna do what you've got to do, right? You don't want to get sacked because you've got bills to pay. So you don't want to be put on a PIP or poor performance or anything like that.
It's kind of easy. It's not intentional.
It's not.
Right.
I get it.
I never intentionally wanted to give someone a bad service, but that was a good.
Sometimes you just even have the time.
Yeah,
or
that's
you
so
put
true.
the house on the market and all of a sudden actually it's nothing to do with you anymore anyway. So what you set out and said we'll go and do X, Y and Z wasn't even in your control.
Yeah.
I think the time one's massive.
Yeah.
Because you're running with an office had a stock of 50 properties at any one time. How are you meant to service that? Are you vendor contact? Oh God, what a word. It's just so old school thinking mentality, and this model allows you to deal with less amount of people because you're getting a bigger slice of the pie, and you're able to deliver a better service. And ultimately, the person that's most important in all of this is normally the seller and the client.
Do you know the people that I think take to it really, really well? I think if anyone's watching that this resonates with, a lot of people think this industry now and our model is for a younger audience, like because social media and videos and all the cool stuff that goes with it. But when you work on behalf of someone who might be elderly or hasn't sold a house for a long time or doesn't really understand the process, who really really appreciates and values contact and hand-holding and one person and someone trustworthy and all of those things. The amount of older people that I've sold for that are concerned for their asset and am I signing, is this fee too expensive? Is that contract too long? Am I being ripped off here? And I kind of look at them like they're my nan or my granddad and how would they want to be treated. And I think they get it and understand it just as much as anyone else. We always target the younger people because all the cool technology stuff. Some of the older people got some great, adaptations with technology. But when they've used us, or certainly from my experience, they love it. So you kind of, no one goes back. I don't think anyone that used a personal estate agent.
Once you've done it once, you're absolutely right.
And people, they do comment, you're more expensive. I actually think we're the most cost-effective way to sell your home because we're protecting the asset, the end result, the money in the middle. We're getting people to actually move home. So 85% of what we list goes sold subject to contract, which is way higher than the industry average. So I don't like the word cheap, but I definitely think we're worth every penny.
Well, 55% remains unsold in the industry average. So cheap compared to what? Because they may as well be charging you 10%. They're not selling it.
It's irrelevant. It's 10% of what?
The fees are relevant until the deal is done, until that completion happens. End of. I actually think we're cheap. Like you just said, you know, when you realise that agents in the US and in Australia and places charge, you know, 4 or 5, 6, I mean, you know, you've worked out there, Steph, 4, 5, 6%. You know, I sit down and I think,
It's grand. So why are we even talking about fee? Because fees are relevant until the point I get you an offer.
yeah,
that's so true. It's like we said, it's 5% of what? Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. But actually, here's a stat for if there is a seller listening to this: we are the cheapest in the world.
Yeah.
Not Europe, the world. We have the lowest fees. that's a fact. That's a stat. So actually,
and TUK achieve 100 and you're going to need to help me here. 104, 3 or 4% of asking prices.
Yeah.
So in actual fact, we get our sellers more money.
Yeah.
So let's break it down. You might be paying another.
On the average sale across the UK, we looked at the last 100 completions. We'd got our sellers on average. Bear in mind, we're in 50 odd counties with very different house prices. Over 16 grand more.
Yeah,
That's
there you go.
crazy.
So the numbers more beneficial for people listening. 16 grand.
and that's just on the sale.
And we're probably talking about.
Before we even talk
before
about
the other stuff.
negotiating their purchase. Yeah.
We're probably talking about maybe between your average high street agent who charges maybe, I don't know, 0.8%, 1%. You know, we're probably like 3 or 4 or 5 grand more expensive. So
And we'll get you that back fourfold.
Yeah, it's a frustrating conversation. It's a whole new conversation, isn't it, Fee? But,
Yeah.
You know, we're cheap, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more.
Great. Good one. Yeah.